Welcome to the Sisters of the Shire podcast. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Abby. And happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear co-host, best cousin in the world, Ashley. Happy birthday. It was actually yesterday to you.
Well, thank you. I never knew. I'm one of those awkward people that I'm like, I don't know what to do during the birthday song. I'm just like, ha, like smiling. Yes. Happy
Sing
birthday
to me, peasants.
Sing to me. Thank you, though, and I appreciated. I love the picture you posted with me with my Disneyland pickle. That is like,
yes, it's a cute picture of you.
Well, thank you.
I was like, it needs to be
I love
on here.
Disneyland pickles.
They're pretty good.
They're pretty good.
So happy birthday.
Thank you.
You get to test out what being 33 is like for a few months before I do.
Okay.
So how's it going so far?
Something to look forward to. I mean, yesterday my back didn't hurt, and today it does. So, I mean,
oh no.
It's like almost every podcast I listen to now, they're like, so for the people born in 1990 or the people who know this reference, it's time to take your Tylenol for your arthritis. Like,
yes.
I'm getting there. No, I am 33 years young.
Yes, Club 33, baby.
Club 33, baby.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your other successful trip around the sun. And
I did it.
We're glad you're here.
We're
glad you were born. So now you can teach us.
All about things
teach me. Ashley said when we were pre-testing this episode, she's like, get ready, we're going to war. And I said, but no, wait, I'm in a snuggy.
I got my Lord of the Rings. I'm not sure. I forgot to plug this guy. Have you ever heard of, I think he's called Lord of the Maps.
Uh-huh.
He's the guy that does all of the, like, Washington State or, like, the whole United States maps, but they look like Tolkien maps.
Uh-huh.
And they're so beautiful. I may have Christmased myself a blanket, because I always love some blankets. The Washington State one.
Cute. You'll have to send me a picture.
They're so warm and so fuzzy. But no, we're going to war.
Okay. My it's actually not a snuggie. It's technically called a comfy, and it's like a big giant blanket sweatshirt with like a hood and a kangaroo pouch.
Got it.
But it's red, so if I get any blood on it from this war we're going to, I think we'll be okay.
Or you could be like the red coats, and they were like pretending not to be dead, or pretending to be dead.
I think I might clash with all their beautiful armor, but it's good.
I know. When did we give up armor? They're like, it's too heavy.
I'd rather be fleshy and vulnerable. You know, it's like, who needs chainmail and heavy armor? Who needs it?
Well, our people today probably could have used it.
No.
Anyway, before we start that, how much do you remember of last week?
I remember they went back to where King Thingol is, right? They went back there? No. They
went back to Nargothrond, which is where Gwyndor's from.
Nargothrond, that's right.
Yeah.
And it's under new management because Finrod died, correct? Is that where he was?
Yep. His brother, King Orodreth, had taken the crown.
But they're like
a peaceful
friends.
takeover. Yeah.
Yeah. He was an elected official. Um,
Yes.
he became friends with Turin, right? Like
King
they
Orodruth did?
became
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Yes. And then there was like a sad love triangle. More
Hmm.
like not really a completed triangle, more of like
Yeah, I don't know how to
a
explain. There's got to be a better term for that.
but
Maybe,
Gwindor?
oh my
Was it
gosh, our
Gwindor?
math teachers would be so proud of me. It's like, and I don't remember, of course, the actual name of the triangles, but it's not an equal sided triangle. It's like one is
An
smaller sided.
isosceles?
Yeah,
An isosceles triangle? Or
there you go. Something
up
like that, where it's
yeah.
not equal on each side,
I think it's
but there is a
isosceles.
triangle.
Anyway, so
Our teachers are
Gwindor, right?
sad right now. Gwindor, between Gwindor,
Love
Findulas, and Turin. Yeah.
and they Gwindor loved her, but then she like caught sight of Turin and was like, "Oh, hey." And he's like, "Wait, are you flirting with me? I don't know what to do in this situation." And so he didn't really like reciprocate it very well.
Hmm.
And her being a girl boss went up to him and said like, "Hey, didn't she like just confront him about it? Like,
Well, Gwindor
hey,
actually tried taking Findulas aside and being like, it's not worth it. He's a man, you're an elf, it's not gonna work. And plus, let me tell you a little secret. He's actually not blood-stained son of ill fate. I know he said that was his name, but really, we all know that's not his real name. I mean, who would name their child that? His name is actually Turin, son of Hurin, and yeah, Hurin is super cursed, and all of his family is super cursed. So you don't want to go near that.
so then
So then she
she
confronts,
goes and
Turin
talks
after
to
that.
Turin about it. And he's like,
And we'll never know what
"What?"
actually happened there. Because
And
all we hear is
then
that Turin goes to Gwindor and be like, "You told my secret!"
but then also like he realizes like, "Oh, if I change my name, it doesn't matter. The curse is still on me no matter what."
Right. The curse is in you, not the name. He's like, "Well, I thought changing my
The
name over and
curse
over
is in
again."
you. Yes.
Because I don't remember. I don't know if you remember. He had 3 name changes on one page of this book. So when he came into Nargothrond, he introduced himself as Bloodstained, son of ill fate. And then the elves gave him a nickname of Adanathel because he looks so much like an elf man, like his mother. And then after he reforges his sword, Anglakel, he gives it a new name and is now Girthing or Iron of Death. And then because he is like known for fighting with this sword, he is known as Mormagil or the Black Sword. So lots of name changes happening here.
Do you think like when he pulls out his ID, it's like the cartoons where like folds in his wallet just like fold out like
Yes.
the pictures, like it just like folds out of like all the extensions of his name.
It's like instead of like showing pictures of their kids, how they used to like have the flip down things, it's all of
Uh-huh.
his name changes, all of his old
Yeah.
IDs.
Yeah.
So yeah, that happened. And then Turin starts advising Orodreth on how to run his armies because Turin's like, see, I see that you are going with this stealth tactic here, but what you want to do is like all out warfare, like out in the open. Like, I know you guys were
Mhm.
all about secret stuff
And I want you to say,
before.
attack before you do it so they know you're coming.
Yes. Like I know you guys like were like trying to have this like I don't know, hidden city, but I just think it would be better if you did it this way. And you know what? I know it's supposed to be a hidden city, but man, this hidden like entryway is just really not getting us the supplies that we need. The
Oh yeah,
cart
didn't they
keeps
build a
falling off the
bridge?
cliff. So I think you should build this really big bridge, totally. It will still be hidden. I mean, they won't see this big, huge bridge. And, that will just help us get supplies to the battlefield faster. Because, that little rickety hidden path that was very narrow, before the cart kept falling off the cliff. We lost Larry last week trying to, rush to the battlefield. The whole thing, the paperwork was, Larry. Poor Larry. Larry the elf. But so they build this big bridge. They start fighting out in the open, and word spreads that the Black Sword of Nargothrond and ultimately Nargothrond itself is out in the open, and of course it gets back to Morgoth.
Of course.
Of course. So that's kind of where we left things last week, that word has gotten around to Morgoth, where Nargothrond is, which is like rut row. Because there was only like 3 cities left that he didn't know about, and Nargothrond is one of them. And Turin just made it very easy to find with all of this killing going on. And the bridge, I'm sure the construction kept all of the orcs awake. Because, of course, they started like the crack of dawn.
Yes. Tiny hard hats.
The generators were so loud. The beeping of the trucks,
Yes, exactly.
So that's where we left things. Are you ready? Are you ready? Yes. Okay. So while Mormugel, aka Turin, had been clearing out all of the orcs near Nargothrond, of course, that only is going to rile up Morgoth. He's like, wait, my pawns! My pawns! So what does he do? He starts putting his efforts into areas without strength. And unfortunately, one of those weaker places is Dorloman, which is Turin's birthplace and where his mother and little sister have been living for the past so many years.
No, he's going to turn Anakin on us.
Maybe. Well, living might be the wrong word, because we'll just call it surviving. Because if you remember, Morwen, Turin's mother, was trying to maintain order and control for her people in that area, despite it being basically given to the Easterlings, the bad men, after the Battle of Unnumbered Tears. Yeah. They managed to they kept her because they were kind of scared of her, so they didn't kill her, but she couldn't do a ton, but she was trying. But
you know what it kind of reminds me of?
What?
The lady from the Rings of Power when they were in that sad town.
Yeah.
Like that.
She's just trying.
She's kind of like that.
Yeah. But this recent increase of force in Dorloman by Morgoth was just the final breaking point for Morwen and Nienor, the daughter. And they were forced to flee their homelands and make the long journey to Doriath to take up King Thingol's offer that he had given a while ago for protection. Mm-hmm. So Morwen is crushed. She fought so hard to stay in Dorloman in honor of her husband Hurin and to try and help her people, only to be driven off by Morgoth's forces. She was trying so hard. She lasted so long. She gave up her son in order to, to stay and, fight the fight. But she had to flee. And she must have gone to Doriath for the sole reason that, okay, at least I can finally be reunited with my son. But when she gets to Doriath, she finds Turin's not there and hasn't been heard from in a long time. And she's devastated
to travel that way and then be like, dang it, he's not even here.
Yeah. And I mean, if you think about it, King Thingol hasn't heard from anyone. Beleg was kind of reporting back, but then Beleg unfortunately died. And so he has no idea what's going on with Turin right now. But despite this, Morwen decides to stay in Doriath with King Thingol and Melian, and they become honored guests. So Morwen and Nienor are safe in Doriath. Meanwhile, in Nargothrond... At least they're safe, yes. Meanwhile, in Nargothrond, 2 elf messengers have come from King Orodreth's late brother, Angrod's people. Now, quick recap. Ingrod was one of the poor elves that was literally in the line of fire in the Battle of Sudden Flame, who was killed at the very beginning of the battle. I'm not sure if you remember that. Yes. After the Battle of Sudden Flame, his people had moved southwest and were now living on the coast with the Falas and Círdan the Shipwright. Now, Círdan is very close with Olmo because he's a shipwright. He loves the coast. He loves the sea. They're tight. And he gives Círdan a warning that trouble is afoot.
Oh, yeah. You told me this already, right?
I did? No.
No, was that another Olmo prophecy?
Olmo is the only one warning people of things. So, quote, so this is the, talking about the elf messengers coming to Nargothrond. Quote, from their far journeys, they brought tidings of a great mustering of orcs and evil creatures. And they told also that Olmo had come to Círdan, giving warning that great peril drew nigh to Nargothrond. And Olmo specifically told Círdan that, quote, the evil of the north has defiled the springs of Sirion. Remember, that's one of the main rivers in West Beleriand. Okay. And my power withdraws from the fingers of the flowing waters. But a worse thing is yet to come forth. Say, therefore, to the Lord of Nargothrond, shut the doors of the fortress and do not go abroad. Cast the stones of your pride into the loud river, that the creeping evil may not find the gate.
Ooh.
So, in other words, they are contaminating my rivers, so I have to kind of withdraw my power from the rivers now and tell the Lord of Nargothrond to basically hunker up, destroy your stupid bridge that you made out of pride because you're stupid, and that way they can't get to you.
I'm trying to help you out here, buddy. Come on.
Trying to help you out, yeah. So King Orodreth hears this and he's like, like he's just, quote, troubled by it. I don't know, what do I do? What? But that bridge was so expensive to put in. But
and it's pretty. I like it.
It's pretty. Turin, on the other hand, is not wanting to listen to a thing these messengers have to say. Quote, and least of all would he suffer the great bridge to be cast down, for he was become proud and stern and would order all things as he wished.
Okay, he's not winning many points in my book, this guy.
No, and it just sounds like he's being stubborn, especially at the end, and would order all things as he wished, like I want it my way. But in a way, I kind of get where Turin is coming from. Imagine you're the new guy at Nargothrond. You're the only man there. And the elves are actually listening to your perspective, your point of view. You're giving them ideas they've never heard of before. And you're getting kind of reassurance and validation that you're like smart and you have good ideas. And up to this point, the bridge has only helped the people of Nargothrond. It's helped them clear out the orcs from the area. It's helped them, protect their city. And so in his eyes, he's like, I did it. I'm doing everything right. My idea was good. And he just doesn't want to give it up. Like, I can kind of understand that. But this message isn't coming from just anyone. Like, if it had come from like Gwyndor or something like that, like, shut up, Gwyndor. You don't know what you're talking about. But this is
shut up, Gwyndor.
This is coming from Olmo, the Valar. Like, if you're not going to listen to him, then you're just a literal god. So, soon after the messengers delivered their warnings, in other parts of Beleriand, the men in the forest of Brethil, remember, they're kind of at the 12 o'clock of our area, so they're kind of the first hit as they are journeying, as the orcs from the north are journeying south. They were being completely overrun by orcs, and they were unable to defeat them. They were forced to retreat, which left the way wide open for Morgoth to, quote, loose upon the people of Nargothrond the great host that he had long prepared. And Glaurung, the Uruk-hai, aka dragon, passed over Anfoglith, and there did great evil.
Oh, man. What's Morgoth's deal? Why is he gotta kill everybody?
He wants to rule everything.
But what is there to rule when he kills it all and burns it all down? That's what
It's
I've never
like
understood
he hasn't learned the
about
mega mind,
villains.
the mega mind lesson that once you rule everything, there's no bad guy to defeat. It gets boring. He hasn't had that. He hasn't won yet to figure that out.
Oh.
That's one of the reasons I love Megamind the movie. Yeah. One of the many reasons. It's an amazing movie. Anyways, so the river Narog, it starts at a mountain range in the far north called Ered Wethrin, aka the Shadowy Mountains. And as it goes south, its first spring is Ithel Ivrin, the magical laughing water that Ulmo had made so pretty and clean. And then the river goes further south and runs all the way down to Nargothrond. So as Glaurung and Morgoth's great host makes their way south along this river, they defile Ithel Ivrin and burn the guarded plain.
No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So with this, Morgoth is sending a message. Like, you can't have pretty things like magical laughing lakes. And that place that my orcs used to be scared of, haha, I burned it to the ground. Not scary now, is it? Yeah.
You don't scare me. You don't scare me.
And this is how Glaurung and Morgoth's forces enter the lands near Nargothrond.
Okay, help me with a quote. It's from a kid's movie.
Okay.
It's like, he's bigger. He's badder. It's
Incredibles. It's Syndrome.
It's Syndrome. Okay. Yeah. That's what I think of when Morgoth is doing this. He's bigger. He's badder.
That's actually a very good. I'll make that meme later. Good one.
I gotta go get Oakley. Hold on just a second.
Okay.
I gotta go get Oakley. Sorry, we're gonna have a co-host. Sorry.
You want to hear a story, Oakley?
You want to hear a story?
So, the Elves of Nargothrond are going to meet Glaurung and Morgoth's forces near Nargothrond. Quote, and tall and terrible on that day looked Turin, and the heart of the host was upheld as he rode on the right hand of Orodreth. But greater far was the host of Morgoth than any scouts had told, and none but Turin, defended by his dwarf mask, could withstand the approach of Glaurung.
Dang. So everybody just burn? I gotta say, that's like, it's a fear that will never come to pass because thankfully
dragons aren't real.
We don't have any dragons flying around. But when I see like Game of Thrones or like The Hobbit and stuff like that, where it just like rains down on them, I'm like, you can't get out. You can literally not escape it. It's terrifying. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So they're sorely outnumbered. I'm not sure how much a dragon counts as far as being outnumbered. I'm sure Gimli would say it only counts as one, but still very intimidating, especially since like we were just saying that elves aren't equipped to handle the fire of a dragon. Only Turin is, and that's because he just wanted a scary dwarf mask to wear. Like, good thing that worked out.
You would think that they saw it be effective before. They were like, oh, we should definitely try to make some armor like this to help out our
You would
forces.
think that, yeah. You think they would have learned from the Battle of Unnumbered Tears. But
yes,
I just thought of this. The people of Nargothrond didn't fight in the Battle of Unnumbered Tears. And I don't think any of the people of Nargothrond came back.
And it's dwarven made. I don't know how helpful they would be to help out elves to do that.
Right. Especially since these guys were the ones that apparently were hunting the petty dwarves. So, I mean, yeah. Not going to happen. So, the battlefield that they're on happens to be between two rivers. And the orcs managed to push the elves back to the fork of these rivers, basically trapping them. They're in kind of a Y river, and then they're stuck in the middle. Quote,
okay.
On that day, all the pride and host of Nargothrond withered away, and Orodreth was slain in the forefront of the battle, and Gwyndor was wounded to the death. But Turin came to his aid, and all fled before him. And he bore Gwyndor out of the rout, or the other retreating soldiers, and escaped into a wood. There laid him on the grass. Then Gwyndor said to Turin, "Let bearing pay for bearing, but ill-fated was mine. Vain is thine, for my body is marred beyond healing, and I must leave Middle Earth. And though I love thee, son of Hurin, yet I rue the day that I took thee from the orcs. But for thy prowess and thy pride, still I should have love and life, and Nargothrond should yet stand a while. Now, if thou love me, leave me, haste thee to Nargothrond, and save Finduilas. And this last I say to thee, she alone stands between thee and thy doom. If thou fail her, it should not fail to find thee. Farewell."
Dang.
Is that
and
intense,
all I can imagine is him looking like burnt up Anakin Skywalker while he's trying to say this.
Oh, gosh. That's a new image in my brain. So that was a very long quote, but I felt like it was necessary to keep it together. So we find out King Orodreth dies. R.I.P. King Orodreth. And just kind of put a bigger picture on it, he was the last son of Finarfin, because Aegnor and Ingrod both died in the Battle of Sudden Flame. Our buddy Finrod Filligan died trying to help Baron, get the Silmarils. Only Galadriel is the last child of Finarfin. So this is her last sibling that has died.
Oh. And she lasts the longest.
She does. And then Gwyndor dies. And the first part of his words confused me. Let bearing pay for bearing. So I did some research and actually found a conversation thread on forum.wordreference.com that I felt like had two really good explanations of it. So one person says, from the sentences that precede this one, bearing, I think they're meaning carrying. So like one good turn deserves another. And, my good turn was ill-fated and yours was in vain. But then this other person chimes in and she's like, let's look at the bigger picture of the Beleg and Gwyndor and Turin story. When Beleg and Gwyndor cut the bonds from the tree that rescued Turin, they bore Turin out of the camp. And when Turin came to Gwyndor's aid here, he bore Gwyndor out of the rout. So let bearing pay for bearing. So first Gwyndor carried Turin, and then later Turin carried Gwyndor. So he repaid the debt.
Well, that's a sad image in my head of them doing that for each other.
Mm-hmm. And then he's saying also, but ill-fated was mine because of all the events that happened. And vain is thine. Your attempt to rescue me was in vain because I'm going to die. You shouldn't have even tried. Then the rest of it, he regrets saving Turin, which I found so heartbreaking. But I kind of get it.
Those are going to be your last words.
Yeah. If he hadn't brought Turin back to Nargothrond, he says, I should have love and life and love. Basically, I wouldn't be dying here, and Finduilas would have never have swayed her love from me. It would have been the only choice. So I kind of get it. But the last part is what I find most interesting and most cryptic. So Gwyndor wants Turin to save Finduilas. Obviously, he wants his love to be kept safe. But that she stands between thee and thy doom makes no sense to me. Turin is cursed. No matter what. That boy is cursed by Morgoth. He is screwed. But somehow Gwyndor is saying here that if Turin saves Finduilas, maybe he could be saved from the curse somehow. And if he doesn't save her, then the curse is for sure gonna happen. That.
Right. Righteous redemption, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. But still, what? So,
I don't know.
anyways, I just felt like I needed to pick apart that little bit because there was a lot in there. So, anyways, R.I.P. Gwyndor.
Well, you might get some heavy breathing from this guy over here.
Okay.
Say,
are you being Darth Vader?
Hi.
Okay, cool. Did you turn into it? Hi, Oakley. So, are you ready to hear what happens next, Oakley? What's gonna happen next? What's Turin gonna do? His friend just died.
Say, oh no.
Sounded way too happy, Oakley. So Turin gathers up what forces he can with him, and they race back to Nargothrond. Apparently, the rivers aren't an issue anymore. That part was like plot hole, but whatever.
He's furiously rowing a boat.
I'd only dog paddle.
Yeah.
But the orcs and Glaurung had beaten them to Nargothrond. And worse yet, the small force of elves that were remaining there to guard were just no match for what was coming at them. Quote, in that day, the bridge over Narog, the river, proved an evil, for it was great and mightily made, and could not swiftly be destroyed. And the enemy came readily over the deep river, and Glaurung came in full fire against the doors of Nargothrond.
Terrifying.
And overthrew them and passed within.
Terrifying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let that settle in that literally a dragon is knocking at the door.
With his fire breath.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Like, so remember that bridge we made? Yeah, we built it so well that we couldn't just, destroy it in a hurry to stop them from coming. And it's actually also so strong that it could hold an entire force of orcs and a dragon and not break. But I feel like that should be like a ringing endorsement.
Yeah.
Can withhold a mighty force of orcs and a dragon.
We are cursed with this amazing talent. Dang it.
So by the time Turin and his force got there, the orcs had either killed or taken prisoner everyone in Nargothrond and were busy pillaging and plundering all of Nargothrond. So, and it's not like the fun Pirates of the Caribbean ride where they're like chasing the women with or I guess the women are chasing them now. It's got to be politically correct. And their guys like having the tower of hats that he stole. I can't see an orc doing that. I'm sorry. But the fire, I guess, would be accurate. The fire everywhere.
That would be hilarious.
Quote, upon this ruin and woe Turin came, and none could withstand him, or would not. Though he struck down all before him and passed over the bridge and hewed his way towards the captives. So Turin is just cutting his way through these orcs, just like a sea, just like parting in his like fierceness to get to the captives. And all of a sudden, Glaurung issued from the gaping doors and lay behind between Turin and the bridge. Then suddenly he spoke by the evil spirit that was in him.
Wait, the dragon talked? Like
the Smaug? Dragon talks like Smaug. All right, are you ready for what he's going to say, Oakley? What's the first thing a dragon's going to say? Is he say, hi?
You say hi?
It's going to be like those star bombs in Lego Movie 2. Hello! It's so cold. That's my favorite part of the whole movie.
Pain.
Yeah. So what he says is, hail, son of Hurin, well met. Like, man. That's the first thing
Intimidating.
He says. And like, what pleasantries, though? Like, good evening, good sir. Like,
how are you doing? How's it going?
How art thou faring on this fair day?
The weather's nice, don't you think?
It's a bit warm for my taste. Quote.
I wanted to be like, hey, when this is over, do you know any good brunch spots? Me and the boys are, we want to try something new.
Quote. Then Turin sprang about and strode against him, and the edges of Gurthang shone as with flame. But Glaurung withheld his blast, and opened wide his serpent eyes, and gazed upon Turin. Without fear, Turin looked into them as he raised up the sword, and straightway he fell under the binding spell of the lidless eyes of the dragon, and was halted moveless. Then, for a long time, he stood as one graven of stone, and they two were alone, silent before the doors of Nargothrond.
Do you think his eyeball is as big as Turin?
I was trying to figure out the scale here because, I have no idea. But all I can think of is Smaug as like a reference. And actually, it kind of brings it back to, I mean, I don't know if they made a specific point of making Smaug's eyes so distinct in the movie, but I don't know if it was a callback to this, but I still think it's cool if they did, if it was like a trying to tie it in.
I would assume he's huge because he's technically called like the King of Dragons, right? The Father of Dragons.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's pretty big. Terrifying.
Yeah. I don't think he's the biggest one though. He's definitely bigger than Smaug, but there's a dragon later that's going to be bigger. But
a bigger dragon.
So apparently the ability to breathe fire, have armor-like scales, and a huge whip-like tail isn't enough for Tolkien to give dragons. No. Now he needs to be
visible.
He's giving them the ability to put a spell on someone just by looking at them. Like, why give them all of those upgrades if you're just going to make them like, I can look at you? Like,
yeah. What if it's like, he just has really big eyelashes, like in cartoons, and he's like blinking at Turin, like, hey.
So now it's the dragon from Shrek.
Yes. Oh, you're a girl dragon.
Of course you're a girl. So now that Glaurung has... Oh.
I'm sorry. Oakley, you're fine. He's terrified. He's terrified of this dragon.
I would be too. I mean, apparently he would win like all of the staring contests too.
Yeah.
So now that Glaurung has Turin's undivided attention, he starts taunting him. I feel a little bad for Turin here. Quote, "Evil have been all thy ways, son of Hurin, thankless fosterling, outlaw, slayer of thy friend, thief of love, usurper of Nargothrond, captain foolhardy, and deserter of thy kin. As thralls, thy mother and thy sister live in Dorloman, in misery and in want. Thou art arrayed as a prince, but they go in rags, and for thee they yearn, but thou carest not for that. Glad may thy father be to learn that he hath such a son, as learn he shall." And Turin, being under the spell of Glaurung, hearkened to his words, and he saw himself as in a mirror, misshapen by malice, and loathed that which he saw.
I gotta say it, but that dragon's dealing out some pretty sick burns.
I know! Like, the sass! Like, I feel like Smaug was like this too, but like, I don't know how they're so mean. Also, it's like...
They hurt you physically and emotionally, you know?
Yes. But also, but it's in a way that I can't think of a movie, but it's not quite Pride and Prejudice. It's older. It's like French court, like dueling gloves. Like, I smack you with a dueling glove, good sir. Like, yeah. I don't know how to explain it, what I'm trying to say, but it's so of a different time. He speaks so eloquently, yet sassy, yet the emotional damage or whatever that guy says on the thing.
I feel like if someone talked to me that beautifully, I'm like, wait, are you being mean? Like, I can't tell.
So not only can dragons cast spells with their eyes, they can also like read your minds and bring up all of your worst fears and mistakes and just throw them in your face. Like,
Dang.
they were dragons already. Like, you had what?
You had to burn me, and then you had to burn me? Dang.
So, oh my gosh, roasting.
Yeah, they're being roasted.
So, while Turin is having a psychological breakdown and is still in this kind of trance, the orcs start taking away the elf prisoners that they just took from Nargothrond. And, you know, Turin apparently isn't a threat. They don't even, like, acknowledge his presence because they just walk right past him. But among the elf prisoners was Findulas. Quote,
and she saw her boy crying
she saw
in the corner.
Her boy. No, he's still in the trance. He just got tears going down his face. He's just standing there.
Yeah.
And, quote, and she cried out to Turin as she went, but not until her cries and the wailing of the captives was lost upon the northward road did Glaurung release Turin, and he might not stop his ears against that voice that haunted him after.
Oh.
So he could hear it, but he couldn't move.
Yeah. He's frozen in, what is it?
Roast mode.
Not guilt. What is the word? He's frozen in...
Trauma?
Trauma. Being ashamed.
At the man in the mirror.
Yeah.
Shame, yeah.
I'm asking him to change his ways.
But what a tragic scene. Like, Findulas is like, Turin, help me. And he just is standing there. Doesn't move or say anything. Like, and I'm sure they didn't know that dragons could do this. So she's like, he just stood there, ignoring me.
He's ignoring me.
Again?
Yeah. Dang it.
Plus, you know, all the other captives were calling to him for help too. Like, ugh.
Do you think it's kind of like that scene in Harry Potter where Ron sees like that stuff come out of the Horcrux?
Oh.
And he's like, huh?
Maybe. Yeah.
And he's like, just kind of like, it's too much for him. Like he just could not.
Well, not only that,
handle it.
but he literally, like, the spell of the eyes makes him, like, I imagine maybe even, like, backwards eyes, like, in a trance. Backwards eyes. You know what I'm talking about? Like, where the eyes, like, flip back.
The whites of the eyes?
Creepily. Yes.
The eyes rolling back?
Yes, that's rolling back. That's the word I was looking for. Flip back. You know what I mean?
Backwards eyes, you know.
Backwards eyes. You know what I meant!
Old backwards eyes.
That's how she's like, did you see Turin? His eyes were all backward. But like, even the other captives, they, you know, Turin was a big deal to the people of Nargothrond. He was like their savior. Like he came to Nargothrond with all these big ideas, and he helped.
Why is he giving up on us?
Why is he giving up? Why isn't he helping us? He just stood there. So tragic. So, as Glaurung releases Turin from his spell, quote, Turin stirred slowly, as one waking from a hideous dream. Then, coming to himself, he sprang upon the dragon with a cry. But Glaurung laughed, saying, If thou wilt be slain, I will slay thee gladly. But small help will that be to Morwen and Nienor. No heed didst thou give to the cries of the elf woman. Wilt thou deny also the bond of thy blood?
Whoa.
So sassy!
He's coming in with the real low blows.
I know. So, but Turin, he still wants a piece of Glaurung. He is just pissed off, and he still tries to get him and tries to stab him in the eyes. But of course, Glaurung's too fast for him and says, quote, Nay, at least thou art valiant, beyond all whom I have met. And they lie who say that we of our part do not honor the valor of our foes. See now, I offer thee freedom. Go to thy kin if thou canst. Get thee gone, and if elf or man be left to make tale of these days, then surely in scorn they will name thee if thou spurnest this gift.
I get to see him just like Turin goes to like run after and stab him, and he like flicks him with like a claw
Yeah.
hand, like ding.
Yeah. But this, like, say, like, let's not say that dragons don't have honor. I'll let you go. See what a nice dragon I am. I'm so honorable.
I'm
And
the best
apparently,
dragon.
apparently Turin believes him. So as Turin is turning to leave, Glaurung adds one last little taunt. Quote, haste thee now, son of Horin, to Dorloman, where perhaps the orcs shall come before thee once again. And if thou tarry for Fendulas, then never shalt thou see Morwen again, and never at all shalt thou see Nienor, thy sister, and they will curse thee.
The ultimate low blow.
I know! The sass! The burn! The roasting!
And also, your shoes are ugly. I guess Steve just be like, also, your armor clashes. Like, it does not match.
It's so
just like
last season. Last
oh my gosh.
age. So last age.
Yeah, just one last blow. Like, and by the way, yeah.
I never liked your spinach puffs. And with that, Turin runs off to rescue. We'll find out next week. We'll find out.
To rescue who? Which lady? His elf lady, his mom, his sister, someone.
We'll find out. Someone. Ugh. If you had to choose, who would you go after?
My sister. Because I feel like she hasn't lived long enough. She hasn't had a long enough life. She needs more life. And she needs a better life. She's only grown up. She's only grown up in terrible situations. She needs a better life.
Seriously. Yeah.
Well.
But what's interesting, though,
I gotta say, I love Sassy Dragon. Team Sassy Dragon.
I love Sassy Dragon. But he keeps saying, I'm just going to throw this out there. He keeps saying, they're in trouble. They're in thralls for Morgoth. They're in Dorloman. They're in Dorloman. But what did we find out at the beginning?
They're not in Dorloman.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
You know who the dragon reminds me of?
Who?
Is the bad guy from Poldark. Like,
yes, yes. I can see that.
The sassy bad guy who's like,
yes,
he's like proper and fancy, but then he'll say stuff and you're like, oh my gosh, like, you're mean.
Yes. Oh gosh, what is his name? I don't know his name. I don't care. But yes, that is pretty spot on.
He doesn't deserve our recognition. He's awful.
But he also, oh my gosh, I have another one. Caroline Bingley. The sister.
Like very prim and proper and like so eloquently just like runs you down.
6 inches
like,
deep in mud.
Yeah. Just so eloquently just ruins you, you know?
Yes. All right. Well,
Oakley, thanks for being my tiny co-host. I apologize if you hear any like, what is it, rustling and bustling on our side, but there is a almost 2-year-old climbing all over me while I was trying to record. So audience, I apologize.
But you know what? We're not going to apologize because we are moms and this is the life that we live. But.
Yes. Oakley, can you say?
Yeah.
Say hello.
Yay.
Can you say,
Oakley, can you
follow us on Instagram?
Say
it.
Yeah. So follow us on Instagram at Sisters of the Shire Podcast. Oakley, can you say Patreon?
No!
Yeah. Your mommy worked so hard on it.
Yes. We have opened a Patreon. And there's different tiers if you guys want to check that out and support us in any way. That is amazing. We would be so grateful, forever grateful for you. And we are talking about some podcast related incentives for donation, like maybe a shout out, or if you have a business that you want us to do like a quick shout out for you on our podcast. We're gonna kind of get more into that. Maybe we'll do a mini recording session about that and a Instagram post. But we're excited. It's
So excited.
It's up and it's live. I think it's linked on our Instagram, isn't it?
On our link tree. We have a link tree, but we can post the link
tree,
too.
But the link tree has a link from our Instagram.
Yeah. And it's pretty easy to find. It's just patreon.com/Sisters of the Shire podcast.
Yes.
We appreciate any support you're willing to give. I mean, we will do our best to shower you with love, but this is a podcast that Abby and I do for fun, but also we work really hard on it, and
yes, we do.
We don't have all the time in the world. We're two moms. I work part-time. Like it's crazy, but we love doing this. So any things you could give us to help us keep doing it, that'd be greatly appreciated.
And if you cannot monetarily support us at this time, a great way to support us is to just write a review, rate us, share with friends, get our name out there. That'd be amazing.
Exactly. We haven't received any proof of ratings, but someone did review us on Spotify recently. I saw the number go up. So thank you for whoever did that. We appreciate you.
Thank you. You know who you are.
You know who you are.
Well, we thanks for teaching us today, Ashley. And happy birthday
welcome.
Again.
Thank you.
And this has been Abby and Oakley. Say hi, say goodbye.
And I'm Ashley.
And we will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.